Good evening, everyone. Sunday evening. Thanks for staying with us. Starting a little late tonight. We are going to cover several things that you've got to hear about tonight. First of all, the White House did not deny the release of the Democrats' memo, the response to the Nunes memo. That's a story that you'll be hearing over and over. Not accurate, as usual. HBO hires a former Obama staffer. A little Obama X getting into HBO, getting ready for the midterm elections 2018, and they're being very open about it. They're not hiding it. Not much left to lose. Old Adam Schiff's, shifty Adam Schiff, he gets back in the news this evening talking about Russians promoting the Second Amendment so that Americans would kill each other. Well, welcome to the real world, slimy Adam Schiff. Media is all tore up about North Korea's Kim Jong-un's sister. No, who cares? But we'll talk about it a little bit. And people are fleeing New York like crazy. I would too. You probably would too. We'll talk about the reasons why, though, and just how many. And it's a lot. And it's been going on for a number of years. And then, if we haven't had enough and we keep asking the question, when is enough enough? When is it going to stop? Well, if you find yourself asking that question, when is it going to stop? We got one for you tonight. We're talking about designer vacations to get away from white people. That's right. But first, we're going to start off tonight. Joy Behar on The View. We just love her. She's one of our favorites. But what we really love is to see her get stomped. And here's a good example.
Everything that I've done in my life, so I don't have any regrets.
Let me ask you another thing that is difficult for me to understand. We've talked about your family having to hide their identity during the Holocaust in Czechoslovakia, and we've talked about the fact that you came here at 12 years old from Italy, speaking no English, and this country embraced you. Mm-hmm. You call yourself an immigrant, but you're in favor of the wall being built, being paid for by the American people, and keeping other immigrants out of the country, much like yourself.
Well, the way I see it, I want the American people to be taken care of first. I don't want the American people to take care of everybody else's problems.
But if they felt that way when your family was coming over here,
well, I came here legally, and we had to wait in line, and we had to struggle and save a lot of money. And so there's people like that waiting in line.
Yeah.
So they deserve their chance.
Yeah.
I think we need to legalize. I mean, this has to be reformed. Immigration has to be reformed.
So you are in support of immigration reform?
I think, listen, kids that were born in this country, as going back to the DACA situation, they need to be here. We're going to take care of them. Nobody's going to send them anywhere.
You say that, but it
at the
hasn't
same
been settled.
time, but that's what I would push for.
Okay.
But at the same time, we need to protect our borders. So I think we need to build some sort of protection.
But Antonio, logically, people who are coming in, even legally or illegally, are flying in. They're not jumping over a wall.
Well, they're flying in.
It's a waste of money, isn't it? That's how I see it.
We are arresting at the border 1,000 people every single day. And there's probably a lot more coming in. So we can't allow that to happen. And they're bringing a lot of drugs or whatever. So we need to protect the American people. That's all I'm saying. And we need to build some sort of protection.
And you think this wall is going to do it?
Well, it's done it for Israel. Mexico's got a wall. Why can't we?
Well, it's a very big, expensive wall we're talking about. And it may not be cost effective, but that's another story.
Well, we spend $100 billion on immigration every year. The wall will cost probably less than $20 billion. So we would save a lot of money.
Okay.
All right. Well, and you aren't totally taking a break from acting because you're in a new faith-based soap opera called Hilton Head Island. Yeah. And it looks like there's a lot.
And Q, change the subject, please, because our host is getting stomped. Oh, that was beautiful. I mean, not only was it beautiful, but it was accurate. It was on point. It was respectful. It was fact-based. And I loved how every time they got to another point, he just had the perfect response, and then she had to throw out the last one that you could tell she didn't want a response because she was tired of getting her little, ego slapped. But she said, when she said, well, it's going to cost a lot of money and I don't know if it's quite cost effective, but we don't have to talk about that now. He obliged her by more than happy giving her the answer. Well, actually, I loved that part. So I hope you guys like that too. I thought that was, I thought it was fantastic. I like Antonio. I think he's very well not just spoken, but I like the way he carries himself, presents himself. So I thought you guys might like to hear that. How you doing tonight, brother? Welcome Sunday.
Good.
evening.
How you doing? What's up, Francis? What's up, everybody? How you doing this evening? It's good to see you all in here. What's up, Steph? What's up, Lewis? Brian, Captain America, how you doing? Chris,
Captain America.
Nick, how you doing? We got a lot of SoCo Patriots in here. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining tonight. If you guys could like and share, get this out. We're trying to fight back on Facebook, so this is the only way to push back.
That is. And speaking of that, that's not even one of the stories I pulled up tonight, although it would have been really, really easy to do. Man, this new Facebook news feed, right?
Right, it's insane.
Dude,
We're changing everything, man.
It is flat out putting people out of business. It is flat out putting people out of jobs. There are pages whose reach have dropped by, and ad revenue have dropped by 95%. They're not even, it's not even like, oh, my reach is down. No, maybe we're just sucking and we're not getting the shares. No. This happened just last week at the end of the week. And I won't go into a lot of details because I'm not sure even how far I haven't seen a lot of media about it other than just talk amongst people, and it's publishers and content producers that are being lumped into this. You don't get into the news feed unless you're verified. You're a news source that's verified by the community. I looked. In fact, I've got the screenshots. I'll see if I can pull them up real quick while I'm talking about it. But I looked around on Facebook and on the internet, looking around for this, new newsfeed information about it. And on Facebook's page, they talk about this community, and that they're the ones that determine the value, I guess, and verify it. But no information as to who makes up this community. I suspect it's the same community that's running these AI bots that, of course, we already know what they've been targeting. I don't know. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard about that. And another thing I read about is they are working, or while they're thinking about testing the dislike button.
Yes,
so
that
there will
is
be
true.
a thumbs down button. So that will also help judge what content stays, what's removed.
Yeah,
so,
they're calling
everybody.
They're calling it something else. They're calling it not a dislike. They're calling it a downvote.
Yeah, downvote. That's what it is.
And
button.
And what it is I believe. Don't quote me on this because I've been reading too much the last couple of days, but I believe it's to downvote comments, not posts,
not content.
But I could be wrong. But that's why I think they're not calling it a dislike. It's a downvote, and it's.
Dislike would be so rough on somebody's feelings.
Well, I
think dislike your comment. Oh no, I just downvoted.
I think that the purpose of it, I think that their prescribed purpose of it, is to involve the community in identifying, spammers that are spamming, putting comments with spam in them and things like that, and then they can downvote it, and then it'll make it disappear. But that's just. It's going to get abused. It's like anything else. I was thinking about this the other day, and this is a little bit off of where we were first headed, but I think it's important, and that's excuse me. Social media right now, 2 billion people worldwide every day. It's like it's like its own country. It's its own community. It's its own, but it's a completely borderless country, right? No. It's a worldwide, completely borderless country. But it has to be managed in some way. Well, it is. It's being managed. It's being governed. It's being governed kind of like a oligarchy, but kind of like a dictatorship. And if you really equate it to a society, you could easily, a society of 2 billion people, there's countries much, 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 much smaller than that.
Oh, no, for sure.
Exponentially smaller than that have their own independent government. So here we are, the new public square is social media. This is the new public square. This is where we get together to share ideas, talk about our ideas, say I agree, I disagree, what should we do about it, I'll meet you here, whatever. This is our new public square, which means the new push right now, and if you didn't pay attention to what happened on Thursday in Washington, D.C. With Jim Hoft of The Pundit and a couple others, and they had a gathering, a meeting, And it was specifically about censorship on social media and how they're going to attack it and what they're going to do about it. And the push is exactly this, that this is our public square, and that because this has become the new norm standard of social interaction and communication as the public square, that the government needs to regulate. Now, don't get this confused with net neutrality. The government needs to regulate to ensure the protection of our free speech rights in a platform that has universally been accepted and is being utilized as public square. So what they're doing, it's interesting from a Republican standpoint to push for more government involvement and government regulations. But what they're really saying, what they're trying to establish, is that social media is a public access domain and therefore should have protected rights. So
and follow the constitutional rights. I mean, it is like you said. Well, we look at perfect example of what happened in Iran. Iran used social media and networking to come out and protest their government, and what's the first thing they did is they shut it down. So I guess you're right. I mean, it is smart. It is one time. Here's the deal: is even though we see a lot of partisan politics, sometimes you have to take the ball and throw it back in their court, and that's what we did here. And I mean, I think it should be done. It's not right that we get squelched. I mean, when you go to a live feed and you see it climb up to 50 or 60, then drop to 40, then climb to 70 and drop, or just keep. That's not right. Yeah. That's not right to do. So, no, you're right. It is the town square. It is the billboard.
It is. And I'll tell you, here's something funny. I was poking around last night. First of all, I found these pictures. I'll read you just a little bit of it. I was looking through this stuff about, these are rules about Facebook Publisher, right? So these are for publishers, content warnings. Yeah. Principle number 1, people on Facebook value content that's meaningful and informative. The goal, stand by. The goal of Newsfeed is to connect people to the stories they care about most. So for publishers, this means creating content that's meaningful and informative. So it goes on a little bit, and it says, publishers, the bottom line in bold, publishers should ideally focus on what they do best, making the important and meaningful stories. Now, that's so vague, so very vague. But then they say, principle number 2, people on Facebook value accurate, authentic content. Accurate, authentic content. So they want to see, this is according to Facebook, they want to see reliable and credible information. People tell us that authentic stories are the ones that resonate most. So again, this is, they don't go into what any of the parameters are. It's just the people want, the people like, the community wants. So it is.
Boulder Dash.
You know what's funny though? Here's something that I'll try and show you guys this on the camera because it's that interesting. I came across this guy's video, and I'm like, he's selling. It's called Pearl Chick - Pearl Papa. Pearl, Pearl. And I see this guy's live, and he's at like 496 live viewers, and I'm like, Pearl Chick, 496 live viewers. What's going on with this? So here's what it is. Stand by. See if I can get this in there. Okay, so this is a screenshot. I was on my phone getting ready for bed. So that's the guy. And I don't know if, can you see, that is 496 live viewers. Okay. Now, I scrolled down a little bit. You can see this is, sorry, I'm doing this in reverse. You can see the same guy, same video, same screen, same time. Now look at that. How many shares do you see there?
5.
5 shares. 5 shares. 496 live viewers. So you would expect, well, this guy's got to have like, what, 2 million followers on his page? Right?
Yep.
Okay. Here's his page. This is the page he was going live from.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. Let me get it.
Wow.
Okay, 5,350, and you can tell that this is him in his live because you know the new feature, when you get on Facebook now, if you go to somebody's page who's live, their live automatically pops up in the corner. There he is, 400 and, I don't know what that says, 432. So he was fluctuating, obviously, as I was getting this. Can you guys... I'm baffled, okay? I've been baffled a long time about a lot of things, and we've talked about this, and I know we're getting off on Facebook, but it's important because I'm going to interlude this. You and I talked about it the other night, but I'm going to interlude this. For the last year, the political battle, the political war for the narrative has been in the streets. The war was that nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew that communism and anarchy was alive in this country and that it was being perpetrated in the streets of small cities and towns all across the country. The mainstream media didn't know. The big-name politicians didn't know. The majority of America didn't know. And remember, we set out. We were like, this is a narrative war. And we're losing because nobody knows this is going on. We have to stay off the physical bloody war long enough for the mainstream media and the politicians to not be able to ignore it, right?
Yeah. No.
And that's happened this last year. Well, right now we're still in narrative war, but the narrative war, I think, has moved to social media. A battle for the platform.
War is the factual war.
Yep, a battle for the platform, a battle for the reach. Right?
Yep.
So I've been baffled for a long time how I see pages that'll have 400,000 followers, and they're doing similar content as other people that may have 12 or 15,000 followers, yet their two videos are getting very similar reach and very similar views, and it makes no common sense. And now we see this. Come on, 5,000 followers, and your video has 5 shares. And you're at 496 live viewers? Come on.
They're just funneling it.
Meanwhile, if you guys get a second, go check out pages like Sean Hannity. Go check out IFL Science. Go check out the American Journal Review. Check out like a week and a half ago or a week ago what their videos were getting. And a lot of Sean Hannity stuff will get 1,000, 2,000 shares, and now he's getting like a couple hundred. So, by the way, again, we were tardy tonight. My truck crapped out on me. That's why you can see I've been working on my I didn't even get cleaned up. I just came in and got in. So, hey, this is real life. This is what we do.
That's what we do, man. We don't have a choice.
That's what we do.
Families, we've got life, busy lives.
That's right. So I know I took that off on like a super tangent, but this is real. This is, I want to say hi real quick to Agnes. Just saw you coming in there. Always love to see Agnes come in because she is very busy doing everything that she does. I see her on an interview, I must say, every couple of weeks. It seems like she's spreading the word. And I know her son's birthday came and passed recently, and that was a difficult time. So I want to say, love you, Agnes. Appreciate everything you do. We love you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Keep it up.
So, yeah, it's incredible to see that. Now, I didn't go back and see what the final number of views was on his video. I was just blown away that you could have 5,000 followers and 5 shares. I mean, unless those 5 shares went to pages that have 5 million followers, I don't get it. So keep an eye out.
What they want us to do is sink our money into it. You know what, man?
Of course.
Just save your next coffee can, and I'll save a coffee can. I mean, you live in the Northwest. I mean, I can drive to Denver.
We'll do it.
We have beards. We can put on some clothes and we'll just sit and collect money, and we'll start boosting our posts like these guys do.
What are you saying, Ty? Are you saying I could pass for homeless? Like,
I'm saying that I think both of us could.
You're probably
we just
right.
got a newspaper. You know what I'm saying, man? I
Yeah.
mean, it's to the point that that's what they want you to do. And here's the thing: is when you hear people like George Soros funneling billions of dollars into this country, and it's you know it's going to people like this. You know it's going to these little groups that funnel this money out like little rivers, and they're able to boost these posts. And people don't realize it is the information war is real, and we have problems because we don't have the backing.
Well, things are going to change. I mean, I believe that the change is on the horizon. I believe it's coming. I really honestly think that part of the reason of this big clampdown is Infinity coming out, Infinity Social Network coming out. I think that there's God, I hope it comes out soon because a lot of these publishers are falling. And I know it's coming quick, and I know people are looking for it. Because there's got to be somewhere to go where we can safely house our content. Here's another thing. I don't know if I should say, I don't know if the person who told me about this is watching. I don't want to identify him yet because who knows how tricky these guys are. I just don't trust any of them. But here's the thing. Somebody was watching our show the other night. Somebody that has access to the page, the AFK and the American Radio Show page. Okay? You follow me? So he's got the American radio show pulled up on his laptop, so he can and watching it there. Well, then he pulled it up on his phone, same video, but when he's on his phone, it goes through as himself, or vice versa. One is acting as if he's watching our video, just like all of you guys out there, just like a normal follower or liker, someone that popped in. And then on his other screen, he's viewing it like you and I view it right now, like you and I view it as admins for the page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As he's watching the video, he says, he told me this. In fact, we're trying to recapture it to see if we can videotape it actually happening. But he said he watched it, and he was watching it to verify it over and over. And he said about 60% of the comments, if he was watching it as you or I, he saw a whole ton of comments, a lot of interaction. But then when he was watching it as himself, there would be whole blurps of comments, whole sections of comments and randomness. He said about 60% of the actual comments weren't showing up to him. So to the eyes of the viewer, it's looking like minimal interaction. But to you and I, we're like, oh, yeah, look at all the comments. Everybody's in there. Yeah, this is great interaction. But to everybody else, it looks different.
Yeah, they're stifling us.
So, boy, it took up a little time on Facebook. But my Lord. What do you say we get to the White House?
Well,
I mean, we may have to get to the White House, literally.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
and you know why we may have to get to the White House, because I got to tell you, just in case we don't get time to get to it, I am not pleased about this budget thing. We talked about it a little bit the other night. We showed Rand Paul talking about it, and I got to tell you, I agree with him. I think this is a bad budget plan. I think it's a bad agreement. I think it goes against. Now, I'm not saying that. I mean, this is Trump. This is exactly the kind of thing that a lot of people were a little bit concerned about, and some of you that are super duper Trumpers might get a little irritated at me, and that's okay. But this is one of those things that is not in line with a typical old school Republican or a typical fiscal conservative. This is throwing money at a problem. There was a problem, they couldn't solve it, and so we just threw money at it. We are looking at another year of giant deficits. So I got to say, I'm not happy about that right now, and I'm really not happy to hear that there's also continued talk about DACA. If that happens, I'll tell you what, Trump's going to risk losing his base, man. With everything that's adding up right now, I'm still happy with him. I'm not happy about the budget decision.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's understandable. I mean, there's a lot.
I got to be fair.
There's a lot of people that are either way. I mean, I'm more pushing off. I mean, the DACA thing, I'm not as happy with. I mean, I realize that there's going to have to be some concession made. I mean, here's what it comes down to. The Trump base is going to have to realize that 74% of the United States of Americans believe that there needs to be some immigration reform, and we know that we're going to have to do that. Mm-hmm. Myself as a Trumpster know that's going to have to be done to a certain percentage. I don't think he should have gave the numbers he did, but he did.
Right. Fair enough.
When it comes to the taxes, that's what, I mean, I see the jump start that he's trying. Mm-hmm. I usually would be jumping up and down, but I guess I'm of the how can I put it? I guess I'm of the mindset right now that, well, no, they've been gambling with my money this long. I'd rather have somebody that's a businessman gambling with my money than an attorney again.
See, but they're not gambling with it. They're just spending it. They didn't. I was happy about the tax cuts, but it's like if you cut taxes, we've cut income, but now we're spending more. I mean, they pushed through the spending caps. I mean, that's a Democrat thing to do. I mean, we took the spending caps and Trump was like, no, let's ignore those. I think it's a bad idea. It goes against fiscal responsibility. We cut the income, but we raised the bills.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. I love the money
the money being sent too. I'm worried about the money being spent too. I guess it's just the way we spin it. We each spin it different, or we look at the outcome different. And hey, that's the great thing about being American citizens, man.
Yeah, it is. I was just looking at some of the comments. It's interesting. I don't know, man. I don't trust any of them. I don't. I think that what we could be seeing with this little budget is a little bit maybe of a little bit of Trump arrogance in the art of the deal. And sometimes it's like if you've ever been a part of a union or worked somewhere where there was a union contract. It's a thing. Once it's in the contract, no, you don't ever give that up. You can't. There's no negotiating. Once it's in the contract, boy, once you give something up out of a union contract, that's it. There's no, oh, we'll do it now while times are tough and then we'll get it back later. No, it's never coming back. So I almost feel like what he's doing is like it's like he's negotiating, but I think it's the wrong negotiation. That's my point. I think he's smart. I think he probably has a plan. Maybe the plan comes out the other end and it ends up being something that, we didn't think about, I didn't think about, and it ends up being a great thing. And at that point in time, I'll say, well, he was smarter than I was. He had it all planned out. But at this point, fiscally, when I see us cut taxes, I'm like, yes. But then when I see it followed up with, I think, a pretty loose budget, not good, in my opinion. So, hey, we'll find out. Like I said, man, I love the guy. I love a lot of what he's doing, but I also don't have a problem if he does something that I think goes against the American people, and I think this does. I think this kind of spending goes against the interests of the American people. Then I got to call it out, We got to call it out.
No, I don't blame you, man. I understand. Like I said, it's been going on. We've had Republicans running saying they're going to slow down the budget, and we haven't had one yet. So,
no, you're right.
It's just stepping in line.
You're right. Well,
but one thing,
yeah.
One thing that he did put a halt to was the Democratic memo.
There it is.
No surprise there. We all know. Here's the deal: when you have Trey Gowdy, who's the biggest lawmaker in the land, come out on TV and say that Adam Schiff and the Democratic Party are playing politics, and they're gonna. What was this last week? We talked about this, and they're gonna write this memo. They're gonna fill it with a bunch of stuff that can't be put out there.
Yep.
And then they're gonna hang him in the court of the news. And boy, if that isn't what happened.
And it's the same tactic every single time. It's like you and I have had this conversation. I know for a fact because we've laughed about it. It's like when someone is being the big accuser, it's like if you're in a relationship and you're not doing anything wrong, you're dating, and all of a sudden the person you're dating is like accusing you all the time, like of looking at other girls or guys, and you must be cheating, and you're 99% guaranteed the person that's making all those unfounded accusations, they're screwing around on you. And that's what these freaking Democrats keep doing, man. It's like Russia. Well, guess what? Guess who paid and colluded with the Russians? Them. And then when this memo came out, they said, you can't release that memo because, do you remember why? They said, well, it'll show methods, sources and methods.
Sources and methods.
Right? Sources and methods that'll disrupt our ability to carry out justice and investigation. Well, the Nunez memo came out. Was there any sources or methods in there?
No. The only thing that they put in there that they didn't redact was, I can't read. That Steele was a long-time source. It was something to that effect. Don't quote me on it, but that's – and sure.
But we already knew that.
Because now we're finding out this guy's a giant shitbag who's basically run across the world lighting fires not only for just the Trump campaign. We're finding out he's a lapdog of the Clintons. So, who knows what other civil wars this guy started or financial collapses or – because it don't sound like – this guy's an M16 spy. Or M16 or whatever the hell they call him.
No, you're right. Dude, this guy he's been around. He's done this before. It's not his first rodeo, which is kind of funny why he was so sloppy. But I think that stuff has just been building. But you hit the nail on the head, and we talked about it, and we thought that if Trump declined it or denied it, then one of their ploys was to do exactly, again, they wanted to accuse the Nunez memo of possibly revealing new sources and methods, and yet here it is right here. Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat out of California. I call him Shifty Schiff.
Oh, and he's a beauty. Also
a member of the Intelligence Committee, had called for the release of the Democratic member's own memo earlier this month. Nunez said the request was not a surprise and that they packed it full of what? Sources and methods?
Yeah.
No.
Right?
You don't say. So again, it's the same thing. You're cheating. Well, no, actually, you're the one that's cheating. Again.
what makes me laugh is the paragraph above when they said that when they told him, we're not going to send it out. He told Maria Borderomo their memo was sitting at the House Intelligence Committee down at the bottom of the Capitol waiting to be redacted. If they really wanted to get it out, they'd be down there all day yesterday redacting it, getting it back over to the White House so that the public could know what's in it.
Right.
So this is nothing but politics,
Yeah.
I mean, he says crickets. We've heard nothing but crickets.
It's a game.
Nothing but crickets.
It's a
game.
It's a big cat and mouse game. That's all they're doing.
And here's the thing that's scary about this, people, is this is something that I do. I know Francis does. I don't know if a lot of you do, because
this is killing me.
With Americans is we sit and we watch Fox News, and we all see one thing's one way. But you know what's scary, guys, is this stuff we talk about. I watch CNN a little bit, and I watch MS, and they're not talking about this. This is nothing.
None of it.
And what's scary about this is they're not talking about the game that's being played. So as we're being informed and we're seeing this and we know what's going on, Joe Blow is kicking down the street with his beats in his ears, listening to his music, showing up to work, cooking, getting home, and then watching 30 minutes of news while he cooks dinner, Hot Pocket. Man, he's thinking, I've watched the news, guys. It's scary. I mean, this stuff right here, they're not seeing this.
It's like two different worlds.
Being played.
It's two different worlds, man.
You know what's scary, and I hate to say it, but everything we're talking about and everything we're seeing in the comments we're seeing on Facebook, it's like two different countries.
Mm-hmm. It is. It absolutely is. I do the same thing. I do the same thing. Watch CNN. I'm telling you, you guys, you watch CNN, you see, like we're watching Trey Gowdy get up and speak. They will watch Adam Schiff get up and speak. And the way we watch Trey Gowdy and the way we listen to what he says and the way we listen to Nunez's explanation of his memo, they get up there and they listen to Maxine Waters. They're listening to Feinstein, and they're listening to Schiff and Pelosi.
Pocahontas.
You guys, this is not. We look at it like, oh, why can't other people see how crazy this is? You gotta understand. Seriously, you guys, this country literally lives in two different worlds. It is absolutely a twilight zone, and it's
scary.
I told you before. I saw it on the college campus, and I said you cross that line, and it's like, holy crap! I am in a completely different world, and I told people, this world is coming to you. It's coming to you.
Okay, so here's the thing, brother, and I have to bring this in here because this is going to talk about not only the college kids, but it's just going to talk about leftists in general.
Yeah,
so
bring it.
we were at that meet and greet for the Bernie Sanders-like candidate that we were at this last week.
Yeah.
Well, there's an indivisible group in our community where we show up to that meeting. Well, after that meet and greet we invited him to our meet and greet. Why not? Hey, you want to know what? We're not afraid to invite you. Come on down. So one of their members came down, and we were talking before the meet and greet started. And we started to talk, and the first thing he tells me is I'm like, you know what, sir, the first thing I can't stand is because I support Trump, I'm considered yada, 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 and I explain myself to him. And he's like, okay, I can understand that, but when we get into talking about how Trump's fundamentally tearing down the institution, he goes, what's the first thing a dictator does? He comes in and he tears down the government, and then he tears down the institutions, the media, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, sir, but can't they're so hell-bent on the institution that they want to turn a blind eye that it can be fallible. And I was like, but sir, it's a fallible institution. I mean, you can't tell me just because the FBI has big shiny gold FBI on it that they shouldn't have to answer any questions, and that Trump should not say anything because it's and that's what upsets me is I mean, these people, you say it's just, I mean, they're watching people like this, and he just don't get that we're finding out. And I looked at him. I said, "But what about the text messages?" And he kind of looked at me. But they don't want to tie it all together. It's like they're in denial. And I just it scares me to death to think that, like you said, we have people watching people like this, and they don't even care that the institutions are causing problems. They're more worried about the institution than what the institution's doing, and that's scary.
Yep, that's exactly scary, right. Man. Tell you, this is a very, as we're continue to learn, this is a very deep, very long established, and very, very dangerous problem. In fact, it almost daily, man. I'm seriously, and this is not like to go tinfoil hat and call out the troops, but I'm telling you, on a daily basis, the more and more we find out, man, our government
Scary.
It's been gone. It has not been. It's been a lie. It's been smoke and mirrors. We've been literally part of a lab experiment, and they've been successful for at least 20 years, possibly close to 40 plus, of keeping us completely clouded. Completely clouded. Yeah. Making us believe one thing that's and another. And the prime example of that is making us believe that we have a voice with our vote. And we see it time and time and time and time again that we don't.
It's like a Clancy novel.
Dude, it's scary, man.
I mean,
it's bad stuff.
And here's the thing in the article and we're all talking about the memo, and then Nunes goes along to say, still, the lawmaker said there is a major felony that no one was talking about, the leak of highly classified information after the phone call between Russian ambassador and former National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn. It took place prior to President Donald Trump's inauguration. However, Nunes explained that the legislative branch of government provides oversight but can't actually arrest anyone. And then he's going to jump into the State Department next. I mean, we've got Loretta Lynch. We've got that business with the tarmac meeting. What I don't understand is if you draw this up, like you said, on a big whiteboard.
Timeline it.
And what I don't, Trump is, and this is one thing about Trump. He used it in the campaign. It was cute when he come out with his board and his graphics, and he was pointing. That's what he ought to do, is they ought to get up there just like they did for every big government thing, like when it came to the 9/11 commission or it came to the Warren report, and and he needs to go, okay, people, and he needs to just walk people step by step. They need to just say, okay, this A went to B, and the fox chased the rabbit here and then to here, and I think the American people are going to need that. I really do, because I don't think they know how serious this is, brother. I don't think they do.
Sean Hannity did a bit that was just like that, but it was 3 or 4 months ago. I'd love to see somebody that has the resources like that, because that's what he did. They laid it all out, and it was about the uranium one, and it was, but this was before we knew even half of what we know now. So I agree, it needs to be laid out, because it really is so tied up, it's so tangled, and what's
up, brother Tiny?
Hey, Tiny.
Speaking about making the news, you guys made Fox News tonight.
Yeah, the University of Washington gig.
Yeah, they made
they're
Fox
just not
News
stopping.
tonight.
I'm telling you, it's not going to stop. And Brian's right. We have no voice, and it's got to change. Quiet revolution, Shenandoah says. You know what though? Go ahead.
Well, what we're doing in our county is the SoCo Patriots in our county are working towards getting seats in the county, getting chair seats, getting people on committees for the caucuses. I mean, that's where it has to be doing, trying to get the public motivated again, trying to bridge alliances with other parties, coming and trying to find middle ground. What people have to realize is the partisan politics have to stop, trying to create pacts with other counties. I mean, we're branching out and reaching out and trying to make real change. And you guys, that's where it has to be is I mean, we can all sit here and we can all talk on Facebook, but if we don't get involved in our local politics at the state, county, local, city levels, that's where the real change is made. Because how can you change the world if where you live you can't change? If you can't seed and create that change, you see people, I'm going to run and I'm going to do this. Well, if you can't seed and create that little bit of change there, I mean, you're leaving your most important, where you live, where your kids go to school, where the politics should be the most important to you. They're huge on a national scale.
Biggest impact to you.
The biggest impact for your buck. So, I mean, that's all I just want to say that in here too, you guys. You see how big government is. And I mean, like we said, we're not anti-government. I believe in this book right here, the United States Constitution. I believe in limited government. Government's gotten too big. We see that every day. But people, we have to, right there, brother, we have to at the local levels. I'm telling you, step out. There's resources out there. Every state has their state has a Republican Party website. Independent, if you're a Democrat.
Yep.
I'm not even going to pitch to the Republican. Get involved in your politics. Get educated. Learn something. Go to these meet and greets. Don't just go to the Democrat meet and greets. If you're a Democrat, go to some Republican and Independent. Same, vice versa. We have to verse ourselves on, and we have to bridge and find out what we're upset about with each other. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We're talking about big government, and like I said, guys, let's get busy on the local level. I mean, we've got Brother Troy, he's the secretary here on the Central Committee in our county, and he's working really hard to lay the foundation for a lot of these things. I mean, we've got a good group of people. I'm telling you, we started off with 2, and then we went to 3, and then 4, 5. Now we're up to 15. It can be done. I'm in small town America. I'm telling you guys, I'm in a town with 10,000 people, and it's happening. So, sorry, I had to throw that spiel out.
No,
there
it has to
in the
be.
middle of it. So, I mean, that's where it really has to change, guys, because I can scream and yell from the mountaintop, and Francis can over here, and Doc can over here, and Ace can over here. But if we don't start all screaming together, and we're not talking just us, we're talking us and 1,000 people from our town, and then 1,000 people from that town, and that's how we're going to do it, folks.
Yep,
that's our plan. So
that's where we're going to have the impact. That's where we got to. And and let's be honest, a lot of us, we need that experience. If you're not just going to run into, to be a congressman or a congresswoman, you're not just going to run into a congressional seat. I don't feel, and have necessarily as good of an understanding or a foundation as if you spent some time locally, you sat on your local city council, your county commission, or you spent some time, at least some years, being very actively involved. We want to retake back our government with the purpose of providing or giving back independence to the people. So in order to do that, we have to educate ourselves along the way as to how the government works. We have to educate ourselves at the local level so that if we get into the local government positions and we start seeing where we want to do things for our community, but we're handcuffed because of the federal government, right? We're handcuffed because of federal regulations. We're handcuffed because of federal tax laws. We're handcuffed because of whatever it is, because I guarantee you're going to find it. In every single small town, in every single local political arenas, you're going to find handcuffs, costs, regulations, fees, restrictions, rules placed on the states by the federal government. And that's the part that I don't like. It's, again, like you said, we're not against the government. We're against the overreach of the government, the overgrowth. And I feel that if we get involved locally like that, we're going to be able to better identify where those problems are, specifically what the overreach is, what's preventing the local communities from doing the things that they want to do. And then we progress our way into the state and into the federal. And by that time, then we know what we need to change and get rid of. I think that Donald Trump's statement of for every one regulation they make, they're going to remove 2. I loved it. I think it needs to be even amplified beyond that.
Right.
That's why I believe so strongly in getting folks like us and folks like you that are watching and that are sharing to get involved locally. If not just to help your local politics, but to start to learn to identify where in the federal government they're encroaching and overreaching on we the people's ability to govern ourselves in our own countries. And don't forget, this is a union of states. We call them states, but they are identified in the Constitution as independent countries.
Yes, they're little countries with the ability to regulate themselves.
Okay, so that would be like the state of Washington voting to exit from the Constitution. That would be like what Brexit did to the EU. It's in a similar state. The federal government is getting to the point where they're going to push, if they're allowed to keep pushing a little bit farther. We've been hearing talks about, we think it's goofy that California says, we want to secede. But we hear Texas talk about, we'll secede. We hear the Northwest.
Texas has filed, I think, every year since the 20s or 30s. They've filed every year to secede. I mean, they have currency in place. They have ports. They have oil.
Water.
Texas that do pretty damn good.
So, this is the thing. The federal government is encroaching so much into the independent states. We got to get in there and we got to learn. I'm sorry.
Well, and not only that, it's allowed.
Got to take one for the team. Bite the bullet.
It's bolstered the states.
Yes.
They see how the federal government reaches in, and then these same bureaucrats, they dive right in, and that's with all these salt taxes we're talking about, and this and that. And I mean, and another thing people have to realize is this stuff's going to take some work. I mean, when we sit down and talk about this, we've got Fat Man and Freedom Bob setting up meet and greets. We've got Steffi setting up meet and greets. We've got our other patriot. She's going and she goes to meetings in Pueblo. I mean, it takes work, guys. So realize, I mean, this takes people on the ground. We're going to set up call centers. We're going to start knocking on doors. It takes work, but we can do it. We just got to get motivated and energized, and things like this should motivate and energize you. And that's why, you've seen Francis since day one. Let's try to talk across the aisle, because you guys, we can't To fix this country right, we can't do it with 50%. We can't do it with 50 because it won't fix it right. We're talking 68, 75%. That's the only way we're going to fix this right. And here's the deal is I believe that 65% of us can sit down and find enough common ground to talk like civil adults. Sure, there's going to be your faction on your far right, never going to happen. Faction on your far left, never going to happen. But the thing is most of us Americans with common sense, whether you like Trump, whether you don't, it don't matter. We just need to sit down and say, here's what we've got to do for the better of our country and our kids. And
Amen.
We just need to do it.
That's right. That's right. It is gonna take a lot of work. But
sorry, man, you hit Facebook. I gave
I'm telling you,
rant on that.
Hey,
not even tonight. My bad. I apologize.
No, hey, whose show is this? This is our show. So
this is our show, brother. We just
nobody. Hey, no. Trust me. There's nobody paying us, so there is nobody telling us what to do.
Right.
This is our show.
Sometimes America. I feel like I suck the oxygen out of the room. My bad.
I do it too. I feel like it too. That's all right. That's why it goes. But you know who really? There is one man that can absolutely suck the oxygen out of the room, especially lately.
Oh man.
We were already hammering on Shifty Adam Schiff, but this one is kind of humorous. I feel like we can throw in a little humor here. I mean, of course, at Shifty's expense. We'll just call him Shifty, just for short. At Shifty's expense. This guy, this is no joke. This headline is not a joke, you guys. It's just like those news clips where you see where you've got these liberal or a Democrat or a progressive or a socialist who has probably never held a firearm in their life, and they're talking about 30-round clip and bifurcated firing ejection portal, 500 rounds per second, fully auto assault. It's that ridiculous. Here it is.
He's a fool.
Schiff claimed that the Russians took to social media during the presidential campaign in order to divide America and cause one demographic of Americans to oppose another. Now, hang on just a second. Hang on. I'm going to throw something in here. Hang on. What did we say earlier? Remember? And it's been proven time and time and time again, especially with these established Democrats that have shown obvious corruption time and time again. Yeah. If they claim that somebody else is cheating, they're the ones cheating. If they claim Russia, they're the ones in with Russia. Here it is right here. Now Schiff is claiming that the Russians took to social media during the presidential campaign in order to divide America and cause one demographic to oppose another. One demographic to oppose another. Now think about that for a minute. What happened all last year and even before that? What have the Democrats been doing? They have been taking to social media to divide America right here, to cause one demographic of Americans to oppose another.
Yep.
They literally are accusing everyone around them of everything that they do to us.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, this is reading to me like a children's book. We might as well draw pictures. How can we? Dude, it's insane. Oh, it's driving me nuts. He says Russia pushed content designed to pit us against each other, to exploit our divisions. Are you freaking kidding me, Shifty? You gotta be shitting me, Shifty.
This is coming from the same guy that they have it on YouTube that some famous prank callers called him. Have you watched that?
Yeah.
And they said they were some delegates from Russia and that they had information on the president and his filthy. And this guy was on there. He was like, "Oh, we got him now."
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. No, what a clown. That's exactly right. So this is he suggested that this included Russians parroting Black Lives Matter. So he's blaming Russians. Okay, he's blaming Russians for parroting Black Lives Matter, which, of course, the divide he's talking about there is between, BLM and kind of, I'm going to lump in the Antifa and the anarchist and all of that kind of level of movement, socialist, extreme liberalist left movement.
The alt-left.
Right? Pitting against alt-right and conservatives and patriots and constitutionalists and all that. So they're claiming Russians did that. Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction right now. At some point in time, we are going to get information. We are going to find out that the Democratic Party or that there was money that flowed from some of these nonprofits that flowed into other organizations, activist organizations that put forth paid ads parodying this stuff. We're going to find out. You watch.
It's going to come out.
I'm telling you, they accuse it. They did it.
Well, you got to figure it. The Dallas shooting. I mean,
it's insane.
That's what started this. They need to predate their whole conversation. They think that everything started for them. They think the world stopped for them. Everything they've done in January 20th or November 8th. And then they think that it starts over again on that day for somebody else. Like, you want to know what? Let bygones be bygones. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm tired of that crap.
No.
I'm tired of the bygones be bygones with them. Well, that was so
not anymore.
Hillary. And then you know what was funny? Sorry, I caught your Freudian slip. You said camplain.
Yeah.
And that's all Hillary did on the trail was
camplain.
Nice Freudian slip. I caught that.
That's good. We'll make that
complaining.
Yeah, we'll make that a meme.
It's the misogynist men that stopped me from being president. It isn't that I'm more crookeder than Donald Trump could ever imagine.
Not to mention she didn't fire the guy on her own campaign that was sexually harassing other women in her campaign. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on.
And on. No.
Well, Shifty was quoted, just to close this up, Shifty was quoted saying, apparently the Russians are very big fans of our Second Amendment. They don't particularly want a Second Amendment of their own, but they're really glad that we have one. The Russians would be thrilled if we were doing nothing but killing each other every day, and sadly we are. Again, this is what the Democrats are doing and have been doing to the American populace for decades. They have been very big fans of our Second Amendment. Even though they fight it, think about all the things that they come after to fight. They come after things to fight, and we're over here like, that is ridiculous. I can't even believe we have to fight this. More money to the NRA, right? More money to the CCSA, and then we fight it, and then it gets shut down because it's unconstitutional. Meanwhile, it costs the American taxpayers $12 million because it went all the way to the damn Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the whole time, all they're trying to do, in my opinion, is to create exactly what you see here on the screen, is to create the divide. Exactly what they're blaming the Russians of doing. The Democrats are thrilled if we are doing nothing but killing each other in the streets.
Well, and not only that, there's another article we're going to do that's going to tie into this too.
Democratic communists.
Yeah, it's the divide and conquer. It's a true divide and conquer. It is. And if you people can't see it, we've got the globalist, socialist cloak sitting on top of us right now. You guys, we need to pitch it off of us. We need to just push it off of us and say, no, this is America. Adios. This is America. Back off.
It's a big facade. That's right.
Like Toby Keith said, we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way.
I mean, exactly. I mean, you guys that are watching, that watch us, time and time again, sometimes 3 times a week, and share the videos. I mean, tell us if this is off base, if we're just getting too deep in our own research, if it's like, whoa.
Yeah, are we in the vacuum?
Yeah, I mean, are we existing in a vacuum, or are these things just happening? Like I'm saying, like we're saying, just over and over and over again. If they accuse, they're doing it themselves.
Well, this is, and you know what's really crazy about
it's like an illness. It's like seriously, it's like a psychological illness.
You know what this is? You want me to tell you a secret what this is?
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me.
It's fascism.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Oh, this is fascism.
Are we fighting fascism?
No, you fascist. Seriously. I mean, what else are you supposed to say it is? And it's another thing. How many times have you been called a fascist? And you're a reasonable human being, and you look at him, and your mind goes, you see the chalkboard, and it goes, fascist, and all the facts go ding 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 ding, ding, and you're like, you're looking at her and you see winner.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
man.
Hey guys, and we
take us where you want to go, because I know we're getting short on your time.
Oh no. Hey, what? But it ties into. Can we go to the HBO one, because we're going from now the government lying to us, and here we go into what else fascists do. Okay, you guys. This is now we're good, brother. We're good.
All right.
This is what fascists do. Okay, there is a group. Okay, HBO has hired a group, and these group are co-hosts of Pod Save America. They're podcasters. Okay, and Crooked Media founders, okay? So they're podcast and Crooked Media is their name of their media founders. John Favreau and John Lovett and Tommy Vietor.
And here they are.
A series of hour-long specials from the campaign trail to coincide with the 2018 midterm elections. They are former Obama staffers who were often referred to as the Obama Bros during their tenure at the White House.
Oh, goody. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited I can't contain myself.
Yeah, HBO.
All right, go on.
They launched Crooked Media, and they have their popular, you guys might want to check this out, a popular anti-Trump podcast called Pod Save America. I was just pulling up the facts about it. Back in 2016, when the podcast was called Keeping It 1600, the group supported Hillary Clinton and criticized Trump on a regular basis. At the time, Politico said that the trio act as wingmen for Clinton's official spin shop.
Oh, is that so? Oh, well, isn't that interesting? I wonder if they're getting shut down as unverified media on Facebook.
And pointed out that the former Obama surrogates are freer to drop bombs on Trump than her more constrained chain of command-bound Brooklyn team.
Henchmen. These are narrative henchmen.
These guys are probably related to Steele. I mean, people don't realize, and Podesta. I mean, we have it. Where's Podesta? I mean,
hiding. He's either in Guantanamo already, or he's in hiding.
I mean, where are these people? So anyway, guys, so I want to bring this into what we're talking about. So we talk about what they're doing with the blatant lies to us and how they're pitting us against each other, and how the liberal left and are throwing money at these groups that are anti-this, anti-that. They're marching the streets. They're paying them to protest. We see how they're using the media. Not only do we know, we talked about Facebook before this. Facebook, Francis talked about how Facebook is taking over, so they're going to take us off of here so we can't tell you the truth. Then they're going to stand up and lie to you and tell you how the Russians have us fighting each other when they're the ones pouring their money into it. Then we've got to see stuff like this where they hire more Clinton henchmen to get on HBO, where Sesame Street is.
Control the narrative.
Hold on, I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Sesame Street is on HBO now, so now you're people that grew up watching HBO, watching Sesame Street when it was a PBS thing that actually taught you something. That's going to freak you out. And if you get a chance, if you're a parent in here, and if you let your kids watch Zootopia, you're crazy. Turn on Zootopia, watch the first 10 minutes, vomit in your mouth, swallow, wrench your mouth out, and take the DVD and break it.
Into 1,000 pieces.
But I'm telling you now, I don't know if we've said it, but I'm telling you, if it's in your house. But we see it doing it through news, media, cartoons, HBO. You guys, it's Facebook.
Hey,
government officials.
This
FBI,
is where
DOJ.
This is where, like we said, you're right. This is where the Times Square is, and this is where everybody is meeting, and they're coming in 1,000-fold to what they used to do, and this is where they want to control the media, control the narrative.
I don't know if you saw this. I shared the post. I haven't confirmed it myself, but I'm pretty sure if Louis Huey from Major League Liberty shared it, it's right. But they said that the Russian plane that crashed had a uranium-1 president or big official on it.
Shut up. I didn't see that.
No, and then actually what made me think of it is somebody else commented in here, and I mean, I don't think Louis would post that I know him, man. I highly doubt it, so I'm saying it's unverified, but the post was a meme, and it was like, yeah, you think this is crazy, this guy had something to do with uranium-1. So that's another thing. I mean, they're
keep
killing
connecting the dots, man.
They're killing off.
Oh, they have.
One
nothing
after
new.
Another after another and like Troy put, and then wash it down with the Tide packet.
You know, what's funny, since we're getting on this Tide, since we're getting on the government thing at the same time, Tide, did you see that, gosh, I cannot remember his name now. Let's put forth legislation to force the makers of these laundry detergent pods to make the packaging less appealing and less looking candy-like.
Yes, with the colors.
You guys, okay, do you remember remember we first brought this up? When it first came up, we talked about the Tide Pod issue, and it would very, very first hit the media, and we said, or it hit the social media, and I brought the article on, and we talked about it, and we said, just, hey, pay attention, warn your kids, tell them, and sure shit, here they are. They're eating them, they're swallowing them, they're smoking them, they're
stupid.
Dude, it's all over the place. But the problem is not the way they look. They're not eating them because they look like candy.
No, they're eating them because I don't know why. I can't tell you why they're eating them.
Well, changing the package isn't going to help it.
Haven't you seen that meme? It's my favorite meme on Facebook now. It says, wait till the kids find the bundt cake under the toilet. Yeah, I know you've seen it. It's great. It's great. Or the cotton candy in the in the roof. Yeah. Wait till the kids find the bundt cake under the toilet. That's a classic.
I hadn't seen that. I had not seen
I'll
that, man. I had not seen that. The bundt cake under the toilet.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. Oh, or wait till the kids
Have
find the cotton candy in the attic, or yeah, it's great.
Have at it, boys and girls. Well, I think this is very, very accurate. Almost every major network is being used by Hollywood for a 24/7 jihad against Trump, conservatives, and America itself.
Couldn't say it any better.
There's only almost no conservative shows on major TV networks. Very true. There's certainly no conservative political shows. True. Even on Fox, very, very difficult to find really what, it's changing a lot. You know where you hear it? Radio and independent media. Well, that's it. And you know what? They can't shut down the established, terrestrial radio.
No.
But all of this, all the social media.
Don't say that out loud.
Well, they shouldn't be able to.
It out loud.
But all the social media platforms, hey. Yeah. Currently, right now, we're at their mercy, but not for long.
Well,
as soon as
they
Infinity
kicked
gets out.
What's his name off? Tim Allen. What was that show called?
Yep.
The conservative, and I guess now there's a push. I don't know. Somebody's trying to pick it back up. It might be Fox. I can't remember who.
I hope so. Hope somebody does.
Yeah.
Hope somebody does. Well, we know that this isn't going to stop. We know we're going to find out more information. So we've come to a point in time where have you noticed it's much more acceptable now? And it makes much more sense as we talk about these things and we start evaluating, just like we did tonight. We talked about these quotes where, they're accusing these wild, weird things. And then if you take that quote that a lot of these folks are saying, and then you look back over some of their activities over the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years, and you see, if I apply their accusation to what they did, they are literally, they're like little children that haven't learned yet that their parents can tell when they're lying. When your kids are at that age and it's like they're lying to you and you're like, no, honey, look. Like, I know that's not true, okay? I know it's not true, so here we're going to learn something, okay? So we don't get in trouble, really, if we just tell the truth. So let's just start with the truth. Do you remember those conversations?
Yeah, no, I remember those conversations.
That's what I feel like we need to have with a lot of these quotes and Democrats and progressives that we're seeing. It's like, look, let's just start with the truth here, Jimmy. Or Shifty. Shifty. Well.
Oh, Shifter.
I know it. Well, brother, hey, your mom just came in. How you doing, Mama Winter?
Mama Winter.
Yep.
So do you want to hit Vice before I gotta go?
Yes, let's hit Vice and
this here, you guys, I mean, we're not gonna be able to watch it with you, but you gotta watch it.
You guys, yes, you've got to go to this article. It's on Vice News. There's a video attached to it. There's two of them. I'm gonna show you two of them. First, check out this one here. This is one we're not going to be able to get to tonight, but this article is on OpsLens, OpsLens.com, OpsLens.com. And it's titled, Always Asking What's Next? How about using race as a disability? And this is no joke. This is no joke. There is a professor named, this is a law professor, named Kimani Paul Emile of Fordham School of Law, is arguing, quote, being black in America is a disability as a new legal strategy towards enacting protections for the black community against unconscious bias, stereotyping, and structural inequality. She says that Americans of African descent and blackness have, quote, an independent disabling effect. Having blackness, of course, blackness is a thing. That must be a term that refers to being black. Have an independent disabling effect. There you go. It's going to be a disability next. So watch out. When I was in college and I said that, and everybody, remember, we talk about it all the time, and they said, where's it going to stop? Where's it going to stop? Now it's the bathrooms. Then it's first it's transgender. Then it's transage. Then there's transracial, and then there's transracial and transage, and then there's now you can apparently be an infant if you think that you are, and now apparently if you, and so what is it? If I identify as being black, I can self-identify as being a 12-year-old black girl, and because of that, I'm now gonna have a disability because I identify as having, quote, blackness and an independent disabling effect. This is ridiculous. It's gone beyond ridiculous. I don't even know what to tell you anymore.
Yeah, so guys, this is what I'm going to ask. And Francis, we didn't talk about this. I hope you don't mind. What I'd like you guys to do is we'll talk about it a little bit, but I think would really be needed. Would you guys please watch this? I pinned it in the comments. Good. And send some messages to us at the AFK American Radio Show. And I want to read some of you guys' comments and see what you guys think about this, because here's the deal. I watched it, and I don't usually get offended very easy. I'm not going to lie. I'm not very easily offended. But I watched it, and I was thinking to myself, man, some of the stuff that was said in this thing, I think to myself, I don't even know what to say.
It's it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm not going to lie. It is overwhelming. So the article starts out as a time when white supremacist groups march out in the open and the president disparges African countries as shitholes. It's not surprising many black Americans are feeling isolated and unsafe in communities and workplaces. Some are turning those frustrations into acts of self-preservation, spending significant money to get outside of the country, away from the people who make them feel that way. 5 black-owned travel organizations told Vice News they've experienced upticks in the interest from clients eager to get out of the United States since the election of Donald Trump. We followed a group of women to the Women of Color Healing Retreat in Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica, a travel experience that emphasizes yoga, vegan food, and political education seminars, and specifically banned white people.
Specifically banned.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys,
that's okay. Nothing to see here.
It's shocking when you watch it. Actually, the woman makes the comment somewhat at some point. They can go hang out with their people, and we'll go hang out with ours, and I think we'll be happy.
Isn't that? Think about that just think about that statement, and we'll probably be happy. Good night, Brian. Have a good one.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, you guys. There's really not. It's kind of hard.
It's insane.
I don't even know what to say about it. The things that they're starting their own country in Costa Rica with their own government. Yeah. And, there was a lady, the first girl that comes on, she's like, I was, actually the girl you see on the screen, I'll get to her in a second, but the first girl that comes on, she's like, I'm from Nebraska and I come out here, And there are some things that some people have told them I could see why they would be offended to a certain extent, But for some of the comments they were making, about how she lives in a red state and she's stuck there and she don't know if she can handle it. And I think she paid some $100 to go. But really talking to the girl with the blue hair right there in the video that you have, she was like, ever since Donald Trump has been elected, I don't, anybody that says they supported Trump, I can't trust them, whether they're a friend or a family or, it's just shocking. And, the one girl that actually said this, she left Brooklyn, New York, or New Jersey. Yeah. She left the United States, sold everything she had because she was tired of here's the shocking thing. Is the woman that runs the thing said that they ought to take all white people's passports from the United States of America because they should have to live in that country and they shouldn't be able to travel around the world and disparage other people.
Okay, wait a minute.
That's actually, she says that on there.
Wait a minute. So the same political side that argues that there shouldn't be borders and you can't restrict where human beings can go on this planet, that coming from that, not saying that these exact people are the same, but coming from that same political spectrum of ideology, now they're saying that we white Americans should be walled in. Now a wall is okay, right? If it keeps us in.
They said basically they said they should take any white American's passport and shouldn't let them infect the rest of the world, is how she made it sound.
Well, if we would infect the rest of the world, why on God's green earth would the rest of the world want to be coming here? Why?
Thanks, Jason. No, I agree.
Makes no sense.
I happened to catch it on a fluke. One of my buddies shared it to me.
Yeah.
Somebody that likes Thai freedom. But here's something I want to share on here. I screenshot a comment that was put on here that kind of surprised me. And I went to this guy's page, and I'm not going to say his name because it doesn't matter, but he's far left liberal, I would say. I wouldn't say he's far left as far as Antifa or communist, socialist, but I would say he definitely leans left. And he made this comment. I'm pretty sure this putting down of whites in a way that would be unacceptable to direct at other races is why the alt-right has grown. Yeah. It's a logical reaction for those who fall, he should have put, how did he put? It's a logical reaction for those who feel their people are always being disrespected to adopt an attitude that elevates their race. Maybe try to treat all people with the same respect. So once again, I'm pretty sure this putting down of whites in a way that would be unacceptable to direct at any other races is why the alt-right has grown. It's a logical reaction for those who feel their people are always being disrespected to adopt an attitude that elevates their race. Maybe try to treat all people with the same respect. And I mean, like we say all the time, when you look at somebody and you say you're a racist, you push them in a corner with that. And to see something like this, to think that, I mean, I can't believe people feel this way about other people. To think that, I mean, I don't know, man. It's shocking. I mean, here's the thing is you ask anybody I know, I'm never at a loss for words. And
this was one of those times. This was one of those videos.
It blew my mind. Yeah. It blew my mind. I don't know how much. I can't say it any more than that. So you guys, I please ask that
check it out.
Watch it. Please check it out and please leave some comments. And tell us what you think. It's kind of shocking. And I mean, I know racism is alive and real in this country, and it's a damn shame, and nobody should have to go through that. But to see how people are taking and twisting and turning and lumping in good American citizens, no matter of their race, color, or creed, into a group and saying, well, just because you look this way, we're going to, I don't know, pretty crazy. So,
No, it's a growing problem, and I agree with you. It's a shame that it's happening anywhere. It is happening, but it's an interesting comment.
And then you look what's happening in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what's happening in South Africa. I'm sure that it looked a lot like this 40, 50 years ago.
Right. So, history's an amazing thing, right? Well, look, we're going to call it a night tonight. We'll see you guys again on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, as always, I've gotten a couple good articles here in the last couple days, or a couple good topics. So if you guys have topics, things that are of interest, things that tease your mind, test your mind, that you want to get into, let us know. Send us a message, either one of us here. And I appreciate everything that you did, brother, this weekend. And I just want to tell everybody that times are not going to get easier yet. Things are not going to start to improve yet. Expect more information to come out. Expect more corruption to come to light. Expect more fights. And expect to have to do more. Because we're all going to need to.
Yeah, guys. We don't stand for the liberties and freedoms that we have today. Our children and our grandchildren, they're not going to have them tomorrow. So, boots on the ground.
That's right.
Let's put in the miles. Let's do this work. We got a big election coming up, 2018.
Big, many big ones coming. Well, stay vigilant. Question everything. We'll see you guys Tuesday.
Good night, guys. Thanks for joining.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight